Surviving infidelity. I'll get a lot of hate, but here it is. It took 16 years. My wife and I married young, in our early 20s. We both came from troubled homes with domestic abuse, substance use, sexual offenses, you name it. First time I was left to be tended to by government officials, I was 2. My childhood strengthened by convictions, hers made her weak. I was in it for the long haul. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, therapy/counseling, you name it. I was the person who showed up, not anyone from her family. In our 4th year of marriage, she had an affair with a mutual friend. She trickle-truthed an additional affair later. She followed the adultery handbook and denied, as I stood there with the evidence in my hand. Not an ounce of remorse existed. Then the evidence was presented. She broke down. Blamed me that our relationship wasn't moving forward. All my friends have kids, blah blah blah. We had agreed in conversation multiple times that kids were to start at the 5-year mark, imagine that. Communication and agreement in full force. She followed the remorseful playbook. Gave a timeline. Confessed to everything, allegedly. We did couples therapy and individual therapy. I found out when we were starting to try and have kids. I was thumbing through medical files and came across a receipt for an appointment in which the morning after pill was issued. It was recent at the time. I kept it and waited until I had hard evidence. Sure enough, she was pregnant. We did a blood test when our child was born. So as mentioned, we proceeded with reconciliation. 12 years later, I can conclusively say, reconciliation is an absolute waste of time and energy. My feelings for her were never the same. I could never look at her as my lover. We have intercourse. It's crazy, intense, awesome, and kinky. Probably due to her still carrying the guilt of her affair. Then it started. She started asking about having another child. About where we would retire together. All I can think is, F that. She's a fine partner. Good looking. Since reconciliation, she's been engaging, loving, and well, present in the relationship. All I can think is, who cares? I wasn't good enough to be faithful to at my peak. My peak physical condition. My peak mental and emotional states. She ripped the rug out from under me 12 years ago, and I thought we had a great relationship then. Now I can't help but want to do the same. I've given her the kid she wanted. The house. The life. I've made sacrifices to make all this work. I'm done. I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. No more talks of future. Dry your tears. This is the outcome you chose. You showed me there are no teammates in life. Now you can learn the same lesson. When you feel it's all going so right, here comes the rug pull. Enjoy it. I know I will enjoy my freedom from this monster. Now for the top advice. Why do you think you'll get a lot of hate here? She broke your marriage in a way that cannot be fixed. If people will fault you for anything, it's not doing this before your first child, or at least sooner. Because OP thinks he's being vindictive when we all know he's not. He's just not there anymore and can't live with the BS his soon-to-be ex put him through. So OP, we got you. Do what you've got to do to be happy. Sorry it took a further 12 years for you to figure out it's okay to leave. Not sure why you think you're going to get a lot of hate. At least you're being honest with her and divorcing instead of seeking your own affair. Nothing wrong with it and quite common. Especially since y'all just rug swept the infidelity and didn't address the emotional trauma caused by it. My only advice is, remember that you were tied to this person for a long time, so be tough and honest, but fair. Which sounds like you're doing. You come off as abrasive here, but you're being honest with her. And that's okay. Doesn't really matter what anyone thinks. These posts are just people speaking their opinions. Only you know what you can live with. From my view, she didn't give you the information, like everyone who commits adultery, for you to make an informed decision. Now that you have it, do what's best for you. Not sure why you would get hate. You tried reconciling for 12 years and you're still not happy. Looks like for 12 years you tried to live for her and give her everything she made you believe she was liking. At some point, you stopped living for yourself and just her. Now you want to live for yourself again, and that's fine. There is no problem in separating from a partner if you're unhappy with the marriage or your partner. You can still remain friends and have a great co-parenting relationship without holding on to any resentment. Who knows, maybe separating is what you needed all along, and was keeping you from true reconciliation. I assume it's taken you 12 years to make this decision because maybe you've finally forgiven yourself for whatever it was that you weren't happy with yourself about. Whether it be that you blamed yourself for her infidelity, or disliked yourself for taking her back. Whatever the reason is/are, you seem to have forgiven yourself, or at the very least come to peace with yourself. I hope you enjoy the new life you've given yourself. I do hope for your kids' sake that the divorce doesn't create bitterness between you and your wife, and doesn't impede in having a good co-parenting relationship. You two have shown that you do indeed have the ability to put aside hurt and difference for the sake of each other, as well of the family. You're about to start your new life, and maybe I just got the vibe based on your wording, but you seem to still be a little bitter. There's no point carrying this bitterness into your new life, so to the benefit to your own succession in your new life, I suggest you leave it behind. Aside from that, live on, for you are now free. Now for the next story. Getting harder and harder to keep my mouth shut. Hey all. I'm back again for more shoring up. I have recently found out that what I thought was an emotional affair that my soon-to-be ex-husband was having in the summer, was actually a physical affair that started sometime last winter. I have found tons of info over the past couple weeks, hotels, weekends, that I thought he was with the boys when he was with her. I've filed and he doesn't know yet. He's still under the impression that I believe the lies he told me in January about how the affair was never physical. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut so that he can be served and vacate the premises in the same day. I don't want to have to sit through more BS crying, and apologizing, and blah blah like I have already done. I also don't want to give him time to start hiding assets and erasing evidence before I'm ready. If you would have asked me a month ago if I thought he would do any of this, I would have laughed and told you there was no way. But now, I don't trust him to do the right thing, obviously, so I feel like I need to hit him hard when he doesn't expect it. It will be like 10 to 14 days until he's served though, and I'm going insane here. Keeping this all in is giving me migraines and making my stomach hurt. I'm so disgusted that, 1, he did this during a freaking pandemic. I had COVID early on, and now I have to think about the possibility that I got it from him. He never got sick, but that doesn't really mean anything, does it? 2, I have not been with another man in 20 plus years, and I now get to humiliate myself by going to the doctor to get an STD panel done. 3, he comes home and acts like nothing is going on. I can see his location services, and I know when he's been with her nearly every day. He comes home, we talk about our days, he eats dinner with all of us, jokes around. It's surreal to see him act like he has always acted, knowing what I know. He's been having little soldier troubles, ha. It's worn out is all, for a few weeks now, so at least I don't have to worry about sleeping with him. But just laying next to him in the bed, knowing what I know, is torture. I'm going back and forth between rage and a bottomless well of sadness. I look around our home and I see memories everywhere. I don't know how he could do this to me, to our kids, to our extended families. We have been together a long time and our families are very important to us both. How do I look at my mother-in-law, whom I love as much, if not more LOL, than my own mother, and tell her why I'm divorcing her son? She just lost her husband and now this. At least my father-in-law isn't here to see what a disgusting, amoral, selfish, weak pig he raised. He would be heartbroken to know this. The other part of me wants to throw all his mess on the lawn and tell everyone what he did. I want to scratch his eyes out and beat the hell out of him. I just need to come here, and vent periodically so I can keep myself in check for a few more days. If you made it this far, thanks for hearing me. Now for the top advice. You are hard as freaking nails, just hold on a little while longer, then you put his disgusting, lying, cheating butt on blast. Let his family know what a piece of work he is. Be angry, be pissed off, you have every right. You are so strong, to sit there and have to look at his smug face, while he thinks he's fooled you and he got away with his lies. You are about to make him look so stupid. I hope you own everything by the time this is over. He's put you through something so heartbreaking and terrible. He deserves to be embarrassed and for everyone to see his true colors. You've got this, lady, keep being awesome. I hope you make it through this as painless as possible, and come out on the other end happy and ready to live life again. You deserve the best and I hope you find it. You should write motivational stuff for a living. Thank you. This is just what I needed. I have read and reread your response and I plan to read it every day until he's served and out of my space. Something someone else did prior is what I'd suggest for you. Say you have to work late, or you're having girls' nights out too. Find a friend who is a confidant, preferably with no significant other or a spouse who won't blab about seeing you, and spend your time there. He will probably think you're having an affair yourself, and I'm sure his anxiety and projecting will run roughshod over him. Absolutely not important, but just as is rare here, and there's catharsis and vindication. It always happens. In the plus, you get to be away from him and have the time to gird yourself for having to see him in the evenings. I'm sorry and best of luck. Stay strong. It is almost over, Just 2 weeks. Don't forget to tell affair partner's husband if she is married. Unfortunately, she is not married. She had a boyfriend when all this started, but I guess sleeping with my husband took up all of her time, and so the boyfriend is no longer here. The last story is titled, "It Gets Better My Friends." January 2020, I found out my wife was cheating on me. I was the happiest guy in marriage. It was the life for me. Sure, we had our arguments in marriage, who doesn't? I think it's healthy to work out differences and be able to grow together. Anyways, I really cared about that girl and would have done anything for her. A few months prior, my ex had gotten a new job. I was very excited for her. It wasn't long after that before I noticed her behavior changing. Taste in music, clothes, desires to smoke grass, and drinking. This was something that really threw me off. We had agreed before marriage we were going to avoid any substances like that. It's trash. I leave for a weekend golf trip with friends. No, this is not a common occurrence. The day I plan to come home, I call her and tell her I'll be home later that evening and that I love her. She never said that she loved me back. This really was odd to me. I pushed to find out why. She says we will talk when I get home. I have a pit in my stomach, really wondering what is going on. When I get home, she tells me that I've been a terrible husband since we got married and that she had been trying to help me become a better husband but I just wasn't capable. This really threw me for a loop. I thought things were great. We were so happy together, or so I thought. I looked up to my wife. I really believed that I had failed somewhere. I legit thought she was an angel and I screwed up. I just couldn't put my finger on it. She proceeded to tell me she was leaving for a few days to her mother's. I was broken. Sat in the shower for an hour or two. My world was torn. Everything I thought my life would be was now uncertain. All the energy, work, and time I had put into the marriage was all for nothing? I didn't know. I shot her a text telling her how sorry I was. I just didn't know what I was actually apologizing for. She comes home a few days later and proceeds to tell me I need to leave, so I did. Looking back, I can't believe I did. Terrible move. I leave to my parents for a few days. One night, my dad asks me why the hell I am still at his home, out of love, and I didn't have an answer. Nothing was making sense. Nothing was being fixed while we were apart. I hopped in my car and drove back home to make this work. My heart was pounding as I opened the door to find her on the couch wide-eyed. She frantically starts texting on her phone. I don't really notice that part, but I remember that. I ask her what I need to do to make this work. She tells me I have to leave or she will call the police. I'm like, what the hell? This is my home. She tells me she is having friends over for a party. A married couple from church come over who were our friends, and they were shocked to see me there. Their arms are full with liquor. Way more liquor than they needed for the three of them. They knew this wasn't okay with me. The husband of the couple couldn't stand to be in the room with me and quickly left home. I was so confused. Am I really getting divorced and have no idea why? What's going on? I went to bed in my bed. Sick. She is in the living room with her friend being quiet. I asked my wife the next morning to go to counseling. She says she doesn't want to. I begged her and finally get her to go. That was pointless. I ask her as we are leaving the appointment if she is dating someone else. She says no. I'm so lost and broken. Driving home, I could care less if a semi-truck hit me head on. That was a dark place to be. I believe in God and I pray a lot. I felt the urge to go to my wife's relatives who I had a good relationship with. I drive up to their home and sit on their couch. They seem to know what's going on between us and they tell me how sorry they are for me, and that I shouldn't take this crap any longer. That they aren't surprised this is happening, as my ex has done similar things in the past, before I knew her. I break down in tears on the couch. Finally some validation, from people who weren't supposed to be on my team. I knew it was over but still didn't know why. I move money from the bank account. I grab valuables from my home since I know she is at a friend's sleeping over. She calls and cusses me out and says a plethora of things I don't remember once she sees the money gone. Probably can't write them here anyways. Get ready. The next day I grab a form to get her off my joint bank account. I go to her work to get the paper signed and notarized. I'm leaving the parking lot when a relative of hers calls me, and tells me that she has been cheating on me with a co-worker this entire time. I break. It felt amazing and sickening at the same time. Amazing because I could finally make sense out of it all. Sick because how? How could she do this to me? She loved me, or was supposed to. When she saw me suffering, how could she not feel bad? When I told her I wanted to die, and she told me that she didn't care, and that I should get help. How could someone do this? How could she gaslight me for months? Make me question my sanity? I called her and she admitted to the affair. I said some things in a rage. All I remember is I wanted her to change her last name because she is a disgrace to my family. She still hasn't. Remember, I have had a great life. I surround myself with people I trust. I avoid drama. I don't know how to act when lied to. I loved her to death. I didn't know the guy she had an affair with, but I wanted to stop my car and confront the guy. Thank goodness I didn't. I always carry. My emotions were at an all-time high. Crushed. I don't even know if this thread makes sense at this point. It was over. Divorce took longer than I wanted. For some reason she felt entitled to a lot of things. The ring, and basically all our gifts from the wedding. She must have really done some mental gymnastics to make herself feel like a victim? Unconscionable in my honest opinion. All I got from the marriage was a toaster. It's a joke in the family now. I didn't want that stuff anyways. Bunch of horcruxes lol. Also, thank goodness we didn't have any kids. I'm here to tell all of you that it gets better. Divorce is not a bad thing. I have a nice townhome now and I'm dating a lot. There are so many great girls. Wow. I have my great job still. Do much to be thankful for. I can honestly say that I don't hate my ex. She is nothing to me. Like a long-lost memory. I don't even remember the color of her eyes or her phone number. Couldn't care less what happens with her as I wouldn't know how to find out if I wanted to. I've cut off contact with everyone in her family. And there were some great people there. I think they all knew what was going on all along. Just glad one of them came clean to me. Once again, hang in there. Know your worth, and I believe that I have good things coming. I'll look back one day and be so glad my life worked out the way it did. It's all a blur now, and I apologize for the word a post. I was surprised I couldn't remember a whole lot more. That's a good thing though, right? Now for some comments. I'm happy for you. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. I think you made it. She had this cheating behavior before. She will have it on the future. Cut her out, and report this incident with HR. No wife material here. Don't take her back. Brother, I am so happy that you are coming out of this crappy ordeal that you put yourself in. Love it when cheaters have to find a way to justify their cheating by blaming you. You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. Good luck in the future. By the way, don't be surprised that she shows up one day trying to find for forgiveness. The lying and gaslighting are potentially worse than the actual stuff. Good that you survived it. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.